Why do you keep attracting the same man in a different set of shoes? Why do you keep attracting the same woman in a different dress? Have you wondered why this is? Have you tried therapy, manifestation work, self-development? What have you tried to break out of these patterns? Just think about what you've tried. And if you're wondering why it hasn't worked for you, I'm gonna break that down inside of this video. The thing that I wanna tell you first though, before we even get into the video, is if you've had a partner, if you attracted someone, you found yourself in a relationship with someone who is manipulative, is abusive, narcissist, whatever, it could be circumstantial. Maybe it has nothing to do with you, okay? However, if this has happened twice, 3 times, more than once, you could be in a pattern. You could be in a cycle. So how do you actually break out of the cycle? How do you stop attracting the same problem, the same person over and over again? We're gonna get into it inside of this video. You gotta understand first though, it's not enough to just say I choose different. It's not enough to say I'm gonna stop settling. It's not enough to say I choose to get what I deserve. It's not enough to just change your thoughts around this. It's not enough to just decide. It actually takes work. So where do you start when it comes to breaking these cycles? How do you actually do it? We're gonna get into it inside of this video. Let's go. So you have to hear me. You gotta listen up close. You might even want to take some notes on this video, because what I'm about to say is going to help you finally break the cycle, finally break the patterns of attracting the same person over and over again. And even if you're watching this video and you're not in a relationship, but you recognize that you've been just repeating cycles, repeating patterns, attracting, manifesting the same things into your life, this is gonna help you too. But specifically, I find it's just easier to break this down and understand it in the context of relationships. So the issue stems from unhealed trauma, bringing itself forward to finally be healed, to finally be seen, to be dealt with. It's a lot to take in. Now, a lot of the times when we hear the word trauma, which it's kind of a trending word, but a lot of the times when we hear the word trauma, we think maybe war veterans, we think like big significant things, but in all actuality, trauma is just anything that causes you to feel seen, the loss of feeling seen, the loss of feeling connected, the loss of feeling known. We go through all different types of trauma, and everybody goes through it. No one is exempt, right? If you're human, you have trauma, which means if you're human, you have healing and trauma work to do. And even if you've never done it before, you could be missing out on just a better experience in your life once you actually start it, because we all have it. And there's a lot of different definitions of trauma, and I'm probably gonna break some down further in the description of this video, along with some resources. But with that being said, we have to understand that childhood experiences shape us. Childhood experiences are what determine what we believe. They're what determine how we move through the world. And when we experience something as a kid, subconsciously or beneath the surface, unbeknownst to us, we make a decision, we make an agreement about the way something is. That the way that thing is could be life, could be love, could be money, could be us, ourselves, whatever it is, we make a subconscious decision, meaning we don't even know necessarily that we're deciding this or that we're agreeing to it. And when we do this, what's really happening is we make a decision around what's safe and what's secure, what's normal and safe to experience, and maybe what isn't. Now, we do this when we're young, but as we get older, we continue to do this. As we get older, if we don't ever do our trauma work, if we don't ever question why we do what we do, we'll continue to make the same decisions in adulthood and not even really know why. And that could be you if you find yourself attracting the same man in a different set of shoes. It could be you. This could be the reason why. Probably the reason why. So when we repeat these decisions into adulthood, it's called repetitive compulsion. Now, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a medical doctor. I understand how this works, but it's repetitive compulsion, and I want you to look it up after this video so you can just better understand what it means. Because understand, like, this healing, it's a process, and I'm gonna help you in this video, but it's a process. You're gonna get some new information today, but this is not the end all be all. So go look that up. Now, let's talk about how to break this cycle. If you're ready to stop attracting the same person, the first thing that you have to do is just acknowledge that trauma exists and it needs healing. This doesn't mean you're broken. This doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. Just because you have some trauma and you're on your healing journey or you're just beginning, it doesn't mean that you can't be in a happy, healthy relationship. It doesn't mean that at all, but it does mean that you have some trauma that needs healing. And until you actually start doing it, you could continue to attract the same thing. Or if you've attracted a person, you could sabotage it because you don't know what's driving you beneath the surface. You don't know what subconscious beliefs or decisions that you've made about relationships. Now, one thing that I want to highlight, one thing that really helps us identify some of the subconscious things that could be going on is the things that we complain about in our relationships, the things that we complain about in men, the things that we complain about in women. Whatever we complain about kind of shows us where to look in terms of where we might have some work to do or where something could be unhealed. If you're complaining about the same thing constantly, one, it's a pattern, and two, it's probably something that you need to look at. It's probably something that has to do with you. This isn't an easy pill to swallow. It's not, I know. And I get it. Look, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety. I've been doing this work for a long time on myself. It's kind of scary and overwhelming to admit that it's us that has to change and be different. So the first step is to just identify the trauma. Acknowledge that trauma exists and needs healing. You have to understand the experiences that you went through while you were growing up that shaped you, that made you the way that you are. If you've never looked at why you believe certain things about love, why you believe certain things about relationships, if you've never looked at these things, there's so much that you might not be aware of that you can begin to identify. And as you trace back these beliefs, these subconscious agreements and decisions that you've made, as you trace them back, you'll start to see, oh, that's why I do that. That's why I'm attracted to that. That's why that feels safe and normal to me, even though you've got people telling you, hey, why are you with this person? That's not normal. You'll start to understand why you do it so you can identify it before you get into the relationship, or you can identify it before you get too committed or too serious. Understand that the world isn't as it is, the person that you're dating and in a relationship isn't as they are, but rather everything is just a reflection of your internal world, your internal beliefs, what you've agreed to, what you've accepted as normal, what you think is safe, even if it isn't safe at all. So something to think about. Now, once you've identified the trauma, you have to understand your conditioning. I'm gonna switch up the vibe, I'm gonna switch up the location, and we'll get into it. If you're new to the channel, I talk about healing, I talk about personal development, and I'm a coach for people who wanna master their emotions, who wanna master their internal world and create new outcomes, and that's what I help people do. I have a framework that's pretty effective. I've worked with hundreds of people through in-person events and online coaching, but that's not what matters. What matters is you and your healing and your journey. So if you like this content, make sure that you subscribe, stay locked in with me. More videos are coming. Understanding your conditioning. When I was very, very little, around maybe 3 years old, there's a memory, there's an experience that I have with my mom. And I'm not gonna get too much into the details, but essentially, what I learned, what I agreed to in that moment, as I had a single mom and there was some stuff happening around us with other men and just other things going on. What I realized, what I agreed to when I was younger is that no matter how big my needs are, no matter what I might be experiencing, I can do the most, but all I'm going to get is the least in return, the least amount of attention. I have an amazing mother and I love her so much, and we have a relationship that continues to get better year after year. And she had it tough raising me. She had me when she was really young, and she had things that she went through as a mother. She had a light that her parents dimmed. She had needs that were minimized or not taken seriously. And so what happened as I got older, as I started dating and getting into relationships, I would accept just a little. Even if I did the most, I would do the nicest things. I'd try to be the best person. And if someone just gave me a little bit in return, cool. That's enough for me. And I really had to dig deep after I got tired of these unsuccessful relationships, after I got tired of the emotional roller coaster, after I got tired of feeling like I do the most and get the least in return. I had to recognize that, okay, this has to do with me. I'm causing this. I have a conditioning, I have a pattern of being okay with only getting a little, but giving a lot. I have a pattern, I have a conditioning of being okay with not expressing my needs or my needs not getting met. And so you have to identify your conditioning, and as you do, recognize that when you get into new relationships. Recognize when, man, these mosquitoes are crazy, but I'm dedicated because I like the backdrop. You know, I'm literally right here on the water, but the mosquitoes is crazy, y'all. But you have to know that you're conditioning as you start dating new people, as you get into new relationships. You have to know when it shows up. You gotta watch yourself. Understand that this takes practice. Now, this is just one example, but there's so many different examples, and I have to let you know what's coming on this healing journey as you start to recognize your conditioning and choose different for yourself. Not everyone's gonna be happy about it. Not everyone's gonna clap. Not everyone's gonna celebrate. And in fact, some of the dynamics in the rest of your relationships might really change as you start to own your worth, as you start to be more authentic, as you start to be more unapologetic. Not everyone's gonna be happy about that. Not everyone's gonna celebrate it. Not everyone's gonna clap. And I just want you to know that going into it. You might upset some people, and that's okay. See, once we get to hold space for our conditioning and our experience and how that shows up, we have to be able to do the same for others too. And so just know that not everyone's gonna clap and not everyone's gonna celebrate. And that could trigger you some more, but don't let it deter you from continuing to be who you wanna be, attract what you wanna attract, show up fully, get your needs met, and get what you deserve. You could be triggered by other people who maybe think that you're doing too much or wonder why you're acting different or brand new. That's to be expected. Not everyone's gonna clap for you, not everyone's gonna celebrate, but you have to press on. You have to keep doing the work. Man, I gotta get up out of here. We're gonna wrap the video up. I got a couple more things for you. The thing about breaking cycles, breaking patterns is it takes skill, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes work. But you can do it. You deserve to do it, and it's worth doing. And as you learn new things about yourself and why you've maybe caused or created certain problems in your life or certain patterns in your life, that's not a reason to beat yourself up. That's a reason to celebrate. That's a reason to be proud of yourself for doing the work. That's a reason to celebrate the fact that you are going to break cycles. Could be the first person to break cycles in your family. That's worth celebrating. I celebrate you, even if nobody else does. Anyone who's locked in on this channel is gonna celebrate you. It's a big deal. So, with that being said, I got some stuff for you in the description, some stuff to check out. I hope this helps you. I'm tired of getting tore up by these mosquitoes, y'all. You see that one flying in my ear right now? My name is Sid Scott. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next video.